Receiving a written warning is one of the most frustrating things for employees to experience, and some of you may be going through that right now. So, I'm going to give you 10 things that your employer should never, and yes, I said never, include in a written warning, and if they do, how you should respond. Hi, I'm Harlow Reed, creator of the HR Insider. This video focuses on written warnings, but keep in mind that these points also apply to what your supervisor might say to you during a verbal discussion about your performance or include in your written warning as well. Let's talk about it. The content shared on this channel is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional legal advice. Always consult a qualified attorney or HR professional for specific guidance tailored to your needs. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Number one, issues with attendance that are related to your illness. Employees who have illnesses will result in a lot of absences, but those absences are actually covered under the Americans with Disability Act if it is a serious health condition, and it also may be covered under intermittent leave. I did videos on both of those topics. If you're not familiar with those regulations and how they apply to the workforce, go back and watch those videos. But some of the things that your supervisor may say to you or include in your warning is you have been absent too many times because of your chronic migraines. You have been absent so often because you have been sick. Or I know you haven't been able to do your assignments because of your illness. If the illness is covered under FMLA or ADA, then you need to respond with, I want to clarify that my absences have been related to a medical condition covered under the Americans with Disability Act, and I'm happy to provide documentation and work with HR to explore reasonable accommodations. If you respond this way, this is going to shut down that conversation. Supervisors shouldn't focus on absences due to illness anyway. What they should be focused on is your performance and what you're not doing versus how many times you've been absent because of your illness. Number two, issues related to your marital status. Let's be honest, we know that there are some organizations out there that expect employees to work all the time, and changes in your life, such as marriage, illness, children, that can take away from that. Those cultures that celebrate working all the time in the office, they're not always excited about it. And you might still be contributing, you're just not contributing to the level that you did before. And so it's not uncommon for people to have challenges and conflict with supervisors when they have changes in their lives. And one of the things that you can do if this happens and your supervisor talks about how your performance has decreased since you married, or they're concerned about how your new responsibilities at home will affect your ability to focus on things in the office, turn the tables back around and suggest to them to show you exactly how your performance has not met expectations. Number three, issues related to your gender. Now, this is one of those things where it's not always easy to be diplomatic, and sometimes you have to confront things and set up boundaries, especially if you're in a male dominated field or you are in an environment where a lot of women are not in leadership. If you don't establish some boundaries early on, including discussions about performance, it's not going to get better, because in these types of roles where it's mostly male dominated, that's where you're going to have more challenges. You may not be able to do something because you're a woman, or how they wouldn't expect you to have experience doing or using some type of equipment because you're a woman. It is best to be direct about this type of issue and say that it's an inappropriate comment, and to find out if there's a way for you to focus on specific examples of your work performance rather than assumptions about what you can or cannot do based on your gender. Any allegation that is unsubstantiated or not true. For example, if you are accused of failing to complete a project on time or a missed deadline, but in fact, you did not miss the deadline. If there are things that are not true, then they should never be included in a written warning. The way to respond with this is to actually state the facts. The best way to confront a lie is with the truth. The truth is undeniable. If you did, in fact, complete a project on time, you say that you did. You're not passive about it, and you certainly don't allow a statement about your performance to remain in a warning when it is not true. Number five, issues related to your immigration status. This is one that has made headlines recently, especially with discussions about H-1B visas and the need to hire people from foreign countries to fill hard to fill positions here in the US. And there's been a heightened awareness that we do have a lot of employees who are on visas working in the United States. So for supervisors and employers, immigration and the status of immigration is actually protected under the Immigration Reform and Control Act, which actually prohibits discrimination based on citizenship or immigration status. Any comment about an employee's immigration status as it relates to their performance should be avoided. One of the ways to address a topic like this is to remind your supervisor that your work authorization is up to date, your legal requirements have been met, and if there are specific concerns about your performance or your failure to contribute or missed deadlines, that you would want to focus on those areas and not your immigration status. Next is issues related to your disability. Any disability that you have and any link to it should not be included. For example, your disability has made it hard for the team to rely on you. The fact that you cannot work certain days due to your disability makes it difficult for us to depend on you to complete assignments. Or we have to fill in for you a lot because you're out all the time due to your disability. Or they may not even mention the word disability, but just the fact that they're hinting at the fact that you are out due to your disability would be problematic. And here you just want to remind your supervisor that discussions about medical issues, such as accommodations related to a disability, have to go through the appropriate channels. And the fact that this is a discussion about performance, and that should be the central issue. Issues related to your age should never be included as a part of your performance, whether it's a written warning or a discussion with your supervisor. And this could be a statement that doesn't mention age, but it could be something like, well, you don't understand how the computers work or how the apps work because you're not from that generation. Something that alludes to the fact that your age is a problem in terms of your ability to perform your job. And you can always address this by clarifying that the concern is actually your performance. And not an assumption that is being made about your age. So, a simple question, can you please clarify if you are making a concern about my performance or if you're making an assumption about my age? And that will redirect the conversation. And again, you want to document it, make a note of it, and then hopefully the supervisor addresses what the focus of the discussion is, which is your performance. Number eight is issues related to your religion. And this comments that are made about how your schedule has created a challenge, your religious practices that have created a schedule that's inconsistent with the schedule that everyone else follows has created an impediment or has made it difficult for things to be accomplished in the workplace because religious practices are protected under federal law. That's not something that your supervisor or employer can include in a written warning. So, in that case, you do want to ask or make your supervisor aware that you are willing to discuss how your schedule can meet the needs that you have from a religious standpoint, and also how you can meet the needs of your employer. Not willing to discuss your religious practices. And so that redirects the conversation and puts the focus on your performance and what issues are tied to your performance instead of focusing on your religious practices. Number 9 is issues related to your race, ethnicity, or national origin. And this doesn't have to be a direct statement. If your supervisor focuses on your direct way of communication being too um, different from the culture of the company, and that it is probably due to your background or where you were raised or where you're from or something like that. Anytime you're having a conversation about your performance, or if you receive a written warning, you have to redirect the topic of the discussion back to your performance related concerns. And that should always be the focus. Number 10, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for hanging in there with me. Number 10 are issues related to protected activities. I'm talking about discussions that you might be having with your coworkers about pay, work conditions, things that you would like to see improved. Those are protected under the NLRB, which means that your employer cannot hold those discussions against you by including them in your written warning as a part of a performance discussion. And so, if that happens, one of the things that you can do to address it is to understand how the warning that you're receiving about discussions you're having with other employees align with policy and with federal labor laws, because any issues related to your performance can be included on a written warning, but things related to protections of your job, of activities at your job, they cannot. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the HR Insider for more workplace tips and advice, and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. I'll see you next time.